I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The best way for our favourite characters to show the receipts of their badass behaviour is by flexing. Yeah, that's
baby.
If you can flex harder than the bodybuilders of the 80s, then you're an S-tier level badass. And I'm not just saying random words for the heck of it. I'll prove it to you with the TV Regent's top 25 badass movie flexes.
Sweetheart, be reasonable. After all, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
I was just talking about bodybuilders from the 80s, so here's the biggest one of them all, both in terms of fame as well as muscle mass. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the best possible example of the stardom you can achieve if you just keep on pumping those weights. Movies like The Terminator and Predator obviously catapulted him to the highest levels of stardom, but I also want to talk about an amazing film that's only become popular again because of a viral meme on TikTok. Yes, I'm talking about 1990s Total Recall, which was such a huge hit back then, but it isn't really talked about much nowadays.
Do you want to know the future?
What about the past?
The scene I'd like to bring your attention to is when Quaid finally confronts Laurie for being his fake wife and then straight up shoots her in the freaking head to end their pseudo-marriage. The flex wasn't a headshot though, it was when Arnold compares his actions to a divorce. That's a pretty savage way of ending things, but I ain't gonna argue with a dude who's won both the Mr. Universe and Mr. Olympia titles. Full disclosure though, it wouldn't really be a problem if I had Sharon Stone as my make-believe wife in the 90s. She can fake it as many times as she wants with me. Alright, that might have been a self-burn there.
That was your wife?
I don't need another speech by some impotent whack job whose mother didn't love him, rationalizing why he needs to conquer the universe.
I'm not trying to conquer the universe. I'm perfecting it.
The villainous monologue has been an iconic staple in the world of movies, but the thing is it only works when the character is legendary like Darth Vader or the Joker. This isn't to say that the higher evolutionary was a bad villain, but he's not exactly the type who's going to be remembered 10 years down the line. I mean, I'm not even roasting the dude here. I think he did a great job in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. However, even the director James Gunn felt the same way as me, which is why he had Star-Lord violate the Baldy in absolutely savage fashion. I mean, come on. Insults that Peter Quill uses here are S-tier, and even Deadpool would approve of them. I particularly like the timing of his response because starting off with "I don't care" and then calling someone out for his mommy issues is a whole other level of flexing. Of course, it's Chris Pratt, so you'd expect it to come across as funny, but on the contrary, he looks dead serious, especially with the expression in his eyes. Also, he didn't need to call the higher evolutionary impotent. That was taking it a little bit too far, but you can't argue with a Giga Chad. Bro tells his parents to clean their room.
There's no God! That's why I stepped in!
Your man to my left finger on the trigger, but he's a foot too close, which renders your man to my right dead already. He just doesn't know it yet. I feel sorry for his family.
People really liked releasing the third installment of their franchises in 2023, didn't they? I just got done with the Guardians, and now we've got a certified badass #1, aka Robert McCall in the Equalizer 3.
9 seconds. That's what you have to decide your fate.
I'm just gonna say it. If Denzel Washington's in a movie, then you know it's worth watching. Starting off this film with that opening mafia takedown scene was a touch of class, but to up the gore factor like that was a whole other level of badassery. Seeing Mr. McCall carrying out his typical stopwatch assassination technique is always a treat to the eyes, but in this case, bro literally shoots through the eyes of his opponent. I was pleasantly surprised by this creative direction, and to see McCall calm as ever only reinforces the fact that he's an A1 assassin. I mean, we've seen this kind of concept play out multiple times before, but the creators always figure a way to make moments even more interesting. On a side note, the way he shoots the dude's butt before shooting him in the head was way too disrespectful. I love it. They should include stuff like this in GTA 6.
Whatever it is that you and your friends do, please do it somewhere else.
You warning me?
I'm preparing you.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
If you're a horror fan, then I'm sure you've heard of the name John Carpenter. He's a total legend of the game, with films like The Thing and Halloween being eternal classics in the spooky genre. Mr. Carpenter was also interested in exploring narrative context, which is why he made They Live, which was out in 1988.
I don't want to fight. Oh, stop it. No!
I don't know if you've seen this film, but take my advice and rent it right now if it's not on Netflix or any of the other streaming channels. There's a lot to take in from the way this movie explores subliminal messaging, and even more so because it's highly relatable to the current state of the world. As far as badass scenes go, the part where George enters the bank and starts shooting at the aliens in disguise is my personal highlight. He sure gave those weirdos a run for their money, and he delivered his lines with total perfection. I also like how someone from the crowd screams something in fear after George says he's all out of bubblegum. It was hilarious. The film didn't really do as well as the studio would have liked back then, but it's a cult classic now, and George totally gives off those typical Sigma male vibes. Well, if you know this scene, then you'll agree with the fact that sometimes you need to hide your gender to come out on top. Lord of the Rings is a widely loved franchise because it knows how to showcase its characters.
They answer to no one. They will answer to the King of Gondor.
Ewan is the female hero we need in movies today. She's aware of her odds, she's terrified, and she certainly isn't as physically strong as the Witch King, but even then, she takes him on with bravery and manages to bamboozle him with her gender reveal, thus allowing her to emerge the victor with the help of a small assist. I love how real the fight choreography is and how she survives through her sheer grit. Ewan is a bit clumsy, and she doesn't have any real experience in the battlefield, but even then, she never breaks eye contact with the Witch King even once. Now that's a true badass if I've ever seen one. I mean, this is what courage is, to look at someone in the eye despite your fears and inhibitions dominating your mind. Her final blow is a messy yet adrenaline-fueled act of defiance that also portrays prophecy. Man, this is such a dope scene. Peter Jackson truly is a legend.
I eluded you. No. Behold the sword of Elendil.
She just killed a helicopter with a car.
I was out of bullets.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother lovers! It's time for some die-hard action. John McClane was the OG GOAT who made Christmas movie badass, and he has way too many scenes to list down when it comes to flexing. Of course, one that comes to mind is when he smashes a freaking helicopter with a police car. I just felt ridiculous saying that to you, but bro actually did it. Like, how on earth do you even manage to pull something off like that and just chill right after?
Hundreds of thousands of people get killed by cars every year. It's just like 4 more.
The best part was that he chose to do this because he ran out of bullets. You wanna know what I'd do if I ran out of bullets? I'd literally run. But no, that's not how a true badass operates, and McClane gives us the best scene of the movie here. It's obvious that sequels rarely create the same kind of impact as their predecessors, but a car being used as a substitute for bullets against a helicopter is the wildest possible idea. Barring his AI deals, Bruce Willis may not be active in the film community anymore, but this is a legacy character that he's built and can be damn proud of.
No, you're a world-class screw-up. You know that, John?
I'm a screw-up. I'm a screw-up.
Still your father.
Thus I clothe my naked villainy with old odd ends, stolen forth from Holy Writ, and seem a saint when most I play the devil. Please, have mercy. Oh, not tonight, Bishop.
Leave it to the British to make a movie so relevant and hard-hitting that people didn't understand its implications till a decade later. The character of V is the hidden voice inside all of us who wants to make a difference to the world, and I'm glad they chose an actor like Hugo Weaving to play him. Sure, he's more recognized as Agent Smith from The Matrix, but I'd say his best ever role was as V, and I'm not changing my mind on that one bit.
Good evening, Commander Prothero.
Oh my God, how did you get in here?
Don't worry, I've made sure our reunion won't be disturbed by any pesky late-night phone calls.
I know it sounds weird because we don't get to see his face even once in this whole movie. Bro was the inspiration for Tom Hardy to cover his own face in his films. Man, V has so many flexes in this movie that I could probably make a separate video on it. Actually, if you want me to do that, just mention in the comments and I'll see what I can do, okay? Now, if we're talking about V's love for Shakespeare, all I can say is that it takes a special kind of badass to quote such a killer line while flexing in front of his opponents. Like, if I was the Reverend, I'd probably have joined his team after hearing this speech.
Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
There's only John Wick, the killer.
And he's going to kill you.
Well, 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 if it isn't everyone's favorite assassin, John freaking Wick. I was always going to have this film on the list, but I've already praised him so much based off his first 3 films. I feel like I haven't spoken quite enough about what he does in John Wick 4.
I'm going to kill them all.
Of course, we all love Keanu Reeves because he can do no wrong, even when he's shooting people down as if he's trying to win a teddy bear for his kid. Marquise Vincent knew that as well, which was why he tried playing mind games with the deadliest assassin on the planet. Of course, these are cheap tricks that would never work on a man of Mr. Wick's caliber, so when he completes Vincent's sentence by promising to end his life, it sent shivers down my spine. Obviously, I mean in a good way, but I'm not too sure if Vincent appreciated the threat. After all, there aren't many people who can flex like that in front of Pennywise the clown. They should totally make a movie where John Wick hunts down evil monsters, kind of like an R-rated Ghostbusters. I demand royalty fees if anyone ever goes on to build on that idea, okay?
Friendship means little when it's convenient.
Imagine a king who fights his own battles. Wouldn't that be a sight?
Imagine making a movie that's over 2.5 hours long and it still manages to keep audience interested right till the very end. I really miss this era of filmmaking, but I don't want to just sit here and complain, so I'd much rather sing my praises for Troy. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, if you had Brad Pitt in a leading role, then you're guaranteed a hit, or at least a cult classic. Obviously, Troy was meant to be a blockbuster, and Achilles was the main selling point of the whole movie. The ladies clearly loved him for his looks, but the men respected him for his flexes.
I'd rather fight beside you than any army of thousands. Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions!
The most pertinent one of them all was when Achilles went on to defeat freaking Boagrius with a single swing of his sword. Mind you, this character was played by Nathan Jones, who's almost 7 feet tall. The choreography of the scene is so smooth and flawless, but you can't help but marvel at the sight of Achilles winning his encounter in 5 business seconds. Yeah, I didn't need to imagine a king fighting his own battles. I saw it in the cinema halls with my own 2 eyes. Then I saw Leonidas 300 as well.
Do you know what's there? Waiting. Beyond that beach. Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
Or don't hit back.
Bruce Lee will always find his way into one of these lists because he can probably have a book written in his honor on the art of flexing. Enter the Dragon was a global phenomenon that continued to establish him as the key martial arts icon of the 70s, and his total violation of O'Hara has got to be one of the most dominant and ruthless sequences I've ever seen in a martial arts film. Bro completed the 3 stages of owning someone: defeat, humiliation, and assassination. Okay, I don't want to make it sound as if Lee was being shady, but O'Hara just didn't know when to stop, so it was pretty obvious for him to meet his end this way. The acting on display is pretty impressive too, with Lee showcasing genuine grief towards the end of the scene. If I were O'Hara, I'd have definitely accepted defeat right after the first blow, and if you consider how the rest of the scene plays out, you'll know that it would have been the correct decision too. I'm sure people in the 70s went crazy after seeing this sequence in particular, because Lee was giving total boss man vibes here. If only he didn't leave us so soon. We could have seen so much more of him in God knows how many movies that came after this.
How did it feel to you? Let me think. Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon.
That's good.
If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Liam Neeson has got to be the most badass dad I've ever seen in a film. Bro managed to save his daughter from a shady European cartel all by himself.
I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Sure, Brian Mills has a very particular set of skills that make him practically unbeatable, but it's the tone in which he openly threatens Kim's kidnappers that instantly strikes fear into your heart. He actually leans more towards the scary side of things in this scene, but make no mistake, this is a dad who's the dad of all dads in the history of dads. That French dude must have thought he did something when he said good luck over the phone. As it eventually turned out, this was the same line that exposed him to Brian when they eventually met. The acting also enhances the scene because Liam's delivery is flawless, and the look in his eyes perfectly encapsulates a cold, methodical spy who's only got his mission in front of him. I swear, if I grow up to be even half the dad he is in this film, then I've achieved something in my life. But seriously though, who the heck just randomly shows a shady stranger where they're staying right after landing in a country they've never been to before?
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
You don't remember me. We spoke on the phone 2 days ago. I told you I would find you.
I'm telling you the law. I hear it's me. Don't push it. Don't push it, I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Sylvester Stallone is 77 years old and still as badass as any other dude out there. So you can imagine how he must have been back in the 80s when he was John freaking Rambo. Sure, it was Rocky that officially launched him as a star, but the Rambo franchise also established Stallone as a mega action star.
Let it go. Let it go.
Now you'd imagine that a role like this would come with its own set of flexes, and you're probably right. Rambo isn't just a man who's gone mad for the sake of the plot. He's a character who's been crafted with a strong background and plausible trigger points. The scene where he threatens that sheriff in the middle of the forest is chilling and badass at the same time. I also love his choice of words. Bro knew he was the king of the jungle. The confidence which Rambo says that he can start a war all by himself just goes on to show the mentality of the character. I swear, Fearless is that dude's middle name.
It's over, Johnny. It's over! Nothing is over! Nothing!
Winston. Tell them. Tell them all.
Whoever comes, whoever it is, I'll kill them. I'll kill them all.
We're getting closer to the elite entry, so you shouldn't be surprised to see John Wick here again. The level of skills this man brings to the table is truly admirable, and to most people enviable as well. Bro can take on an entire organization of assassins hiding in plain sight and still beat them down without any mercy.
You're not very good at retiring.
I'm working on it.
It's exactly the kind of message he sends out to Winston when the global bounty is put on his head. Mr. Wick didn't care who was coming for him because he already knew the kind of treatment that he was going to give them. See, this is why I respect him even more. He's all about equality, you see. You could be a man, woman, short, tall, white or black. It won't matter to him. He'll take your life regardless, and there's nothing you can do about it. Seriously though, just think about it. Every assassin in the world is after him, but he issues a warning to them instead of figuring a way to keep himself incognito. We even get to see the kind of stress he has to deal with later in John Wick 3. Man, I thought that Brian Mills from the Taken entry had an insane level of confidence, but bro just operates on a completely different level.
The blade is in your aorta. You pull it out, you will bleed and you will die.
This is the end of the line.
Consider this a professional courtesy.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers really should have done more movies together. Can you imagine a franchise where the both of them are muscle boy cops taking down evil in their city? That would have been insane. The level of flexing in this scene is just way too much for any standard male to handle. Just look at those biceps. How on earth do you train them to look like that? I swear this should be something you watch as part of your pre-workout prep. Dutch and Dylan are both top guns when it comes to their profession, but the way Arnold dominates Carl here is an S-tier flex.
What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils? Huh?
Even the way Dutch mocks him after winning is a total violation, especially after they give us what can only be called the handshake of the gods. The director knew exactly what he was doing here, which is why he shot it so perfectly. See, this is why films like Predator have gone on to become timeless classics. I mean, it's even become a popular meme on TikTok and Instagram. It's such a cool scene that we should start imitating it in real life as well. Imagine shaking hands like this when you go for an interview. That'll get you hired instantly.
Had enough?
Make it easy on yourself, Dutch.
Okay. Never did know when to quit, huh?
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred.
2 vodka martinis, shaken, not stirred.
We're in the top 10 territory now, so I thought I'd start with an unorthodox entry. I actually did this before in one of my videos, and I'm doing it again because it would be a huge injustice to restrict such an iconic phenomenon to just one scene. The line, shaken, not stirred, has gone on to become a trademark of the one and only James Bond. It's kind of like a calling card.
Shaken, not stirred.
Whether it was the OG badass Sean Connery, the clumsy but lovable Roger Moore, the dashing Pierce Brosnan, or the poignant Daniel Craig, all of them have established their identities as 007, not just because of their skills and contributions, but also through the delivery of this one legendary line. I mean, if you look at it the other way, then it makes James Bond look like an alcoholic, doesn't it, since everyone knows his drink. However, here's a fun fact for you teetotalers out there. Drinks are usually stirred so that you don't chip the ice. When Bond orders it to be shaken, the ice chips melt faster, leaving him with a watered-down martini. That's right, our man always has the mission in his mind, whether he's drinking cocktails or letting his intrusive thoughts take over with gorgeous Bond girls. Damn, I was just gonna focus on one flex, but I mentioned a couple more in the process.
Vodka martini, shaken, not stirred. And for you?
The same.
And this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
There aren't many people out there who can proudly state that they're legendary actors as well as directors. Clint Eastwood stands tall as the top contender if you're to compile a list of such individuals. The man has some of the most iconic roles and some of the most memorable classics to his name as an actor and a director. In the case of Dirty Harry, he's only the actor, but he's the titular anti-hero who eventually went on to influence a whole genre of dudes following his philosophy. Now, when I say Dirty Harry, the one line that instantly comes to mind is, "Do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?" It's gone down as one of the most legendary lines in film history and holds strong even over 50 years since the film's release. The whole flow of the scene is meant to showcase Harry Callahan as the grade A badass that he is. The way he acts out his part perfectly complements this intention. I still find it hard to believe that people continue to confuse the line as, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" Like, you have seen the movie, right?
I got to know.
En la iglesia dicen que hay que perdonar.
Forgiveness is between them and God. It's my job to arrange the meeting.
The secret ingredient for a successful badass scene is Denzel Washington. I don't make the rules, it's just how it is. Granted, Man on Fire wasn't as much of a success as the Equalizer or American Gangster, but it did contain one of the most badass lines I've ever heard in my life.
I'm the sheep that got lost, Madre.
The moment where he shoots down his targets in front of an old couple has got to be the most memorable moment from the whole movie. First of all, I want to know why they even question Creasy in the middle of his mission. Like, do you not see that the guy's got a deadly weapon on him? Can you not gauge his personality from the vibe he's giving off? But yeah, after he tells them that he's here to arrange a meeting between his targets and God, that's when the old lady at least figures that maybe he should just let him carry on with his business. The man who wrote this line seriously deserves a prize because it's got way too much sass for it not to receive any recognition.
Revenge is a meal best served cold.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Charles Xavier.
Go fuck yourself.
Imagine this, you're chilling at a bar when suddenly Professor X and Magneto drop by to ask you a favor. What's the favor, you might ask? Well, it's to join the freaking X-Men during their origin story. Normally, anyone would jump at such an opportunity, or at least marvel at the presence of two legacy characters. However, if you're the Wolverine, you'll probably just end up using the only F-word allowance in a PG-13 movie. Logan has no care or concern for people who try to recruit him for missions, even if the president comes to meet him personally. He's kind of like Rick Sanchez from that perspective, but with a much better personality and super sharp claws. The nonchalance with which Hugh Jackman tells Charles and Eric to do something to themselves is the perfect summary of this character. The fact that he flexed its way while having a cigar and a drink only makes this line more badass.
You'll have to be patient with me.
Patience is my strongest suit.
This is Sparta!
I mentioned him in the entry from Troy, so I think that we have to see Leonidas somewhere on this list. The King of Sparta will probably go down as Gerard Butler's most iconic role, and I think he'd be pretty much happy with that if you ask me.
This battle is over, Leonidas. Battle is over when I say it is over.
The most epic line to have ever come out of him is, "This is Sparta!" And the timing couldn't have been better with the Persian messenger. Bro made sure to look as grand as he possibly could while kicking the dude down into that massive abyss. It was definitely the ancient way of flexing, and I also liked how Leonidas turned to his queen for a second just to see if she was cool with it. Of course, Lena Headey would go on to approve worse things for the sake of the throne later, but let's not talk about Westeros right now. This is Sparta after all.
There is no glory to be had now. Only retreat or surrender. Spartans never retreat. Spartans never surrender.
Where is she?
Look, it may take a while. You want to wait? There's a bench over there.
I'll be back.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's back, just like he promises in this scene as well. Bro is the opposite of Harvey Dent's iconic line. He didn't exactly die a villain, so he lived long enough to become the hero. In this case though, he's most definitely the bad guy, but he's still giving us an amazing sequence. Of course, you should never lie to a police officer, so at least the T-800 got that right. It's the random suddenness of the scene that really appeals to me, and the fact that Arnie is looking dope AF just enhances the overall impact.
You're close. Give them to me, now.
You shall not pass!
Should it even be a surprise to see this moment at number 3? The Balrog is a really scary beast that has all the makings of the typical demon lord you'd find in manga and anime stories. So when Gandalf blatantly denied him passage with that one epic declaration, it sent goosebumps down my spine. To be so determined in the face of such a monstrosity is a flex and a half, but the fact that Gandalf managed to defeat his opponent only made us love the character even more. I sure am glad I never had a test supervisor who followed his "you shall not pass" mentality.
Fly, you fools.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Did you seriously think a video with the words badass and flex wouldn't have Tony Stark in it? Iron Man will always be the most iconic character to have ever existed in the MCU, and I've already released several videos justifying that statement.
This usually works. Well, performance issues, it's not uncommon.
However, Steve Rogers clearly needs to be given the occasional reminder every once in a while, which is why he had to be humbled by Iron Man's most epic self-assessment.
Is everything a joke to you? Funny thing.
You can call yourself Captain America, but that title isn't even worth half of any of the things Tony says. I mean, if Black Widow agrees that you're a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, then you don't need any validation from a super soldier in spandex.
Agent Romanoff, you miss me?
Say hello to my little friend!
Al Pacino is a legend, and his most iconic role will forever remain Tony Montana from 1983's Scarface. He is hands down one of the best gangsters of all time, maybe even on the same level as the Corleone family from the Godfather franchise. Of course, he's not some role model for kids to follow, but he sure makes being bad look good.
Every dog has his day.
The grand finale of the movie obviously had to end with his downfall, but the massacre he executes with his little friend was the perfect way to go down fighting. The brutality and rawness of the scene perfectly encapsulates who Tony Montana is as a person. This is exactly why he'll always be remembered and loved, even if he never intended to be a hero in the first place.
No, don't kill me, please.
I won't kill you.
Oh, Christ, thank you.
Get up.
Thank you.
Manolo, shoot that piece of chip.
No.
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video that I know you'll enjoy.